Today, we are going to talk about whiteboard programs that you can use remotely or in your classroom, either way. There are quite a few out there. We tried to pick the best ones that were out there that we thought would be best for you to use. So if you have been on before, you know that ClassFlow is one of the Promethean programs. So if you click on the link that's inside there, it's going to take you to ClassFlow. You want to click on the top right to log in. I already created an account. So when I sign in with Google. And then you can see you have an instant whiteboard right here that you can use. When you create an account, you automatically are given an open class. So if you have an instant whiteboard, what I love about this is you could actually have some kind of collaboration. You get to connect to your students. So if you shared the link with your students, let me see if I can copy. Okay, put it in the chat. You should be able to copy and paste that and put that in. And you can join my class. You'll see that your students log in here. You don't have to do this with your students if you are just trying to do a whiteboard on the fly. You have all your tools across the bottom. You have text. So if you wanted to say, 25 times 4 equals, and then you wanted to start using manipulatives to show what that is, if I just keep clicking on the shape, I can have each one inside there. And then I could have the students, add each of those 4 as 25 and get the answer. You can do the same thing. So if I was doing maybe a think circa, and I was just wanted to take some of the article and I was copying it, and then I wanted to talk about it with my students, I could actually see you have this little plus down here. I could add a new slide. If I hit text and I can paste it in there, now you can manipulate this text and you can start to, I could take the pencil and I could say, put a circle around the word heart, what does the word cohesive mean? I can go to my pen, I can choose a different color and I could underline the word cohesive, ask my students to go out and write the definition of cohesive. I can also see over here, I have 4 people in my class. I love it. So right here, I have 4 people. If I wanted to send this to them, you have an option to send this screen because they will not see anything until you hit send. When I send it to them, they cannot manipulate it. They can only see what I am showing them. They can't do anything with it. If I wanted them to manipulate this piece of work, you have the quizzes, the interactive poll option. The creative will allow them to write on it. So if I wanted them to write on it and say, find 2 verbs in the passage, they could then manipulate that text that I sent them and it's going to come up and you can see I have their names shut off. But if I wanted, I could hit show names and as they come in, it will show me the students' names. Usually, I would think as a teacher, you would keep that hidden and you can look at the information later in your own class. And I'm gonna let them keep doing that. But you can see as the poll is live, it's still open. I can do other things on my end. They may not have this on their screen because they're taking the poll, but I could do during the Zoom meeting, talk about this. You have plenty of tools out here in this toolbox. I love it. So if you're a math teacher, the ruler option and the compass and the protractor, those are really cool. You also have in here a revealer, which is kind of cool. So if you only wanted to show part of what you have and not let your students see the answer, you could have a math lesson in here or English lesson, and then once you scroll to the bottom, you can have your answers at the bottom if you had this set up beforehand. Or not. So let's go and see. We have, oh, look, I have some answers out here. So if I want, you can hit the magnifying glass and I can take a look at it. And look, it says Think Circa is a useful tool. So I can see that. I can go back. If I wanted to, I can take that card and you can see I actually added it into my lesson because I thought it was important. If somebody puts something in here that you find is very important, that you wanted to share, like maybe you had a question that you wanted to talk to your students about, you can go into one of these and you can hit your 3 dots on the side and you can send another poll. So say you were having a conversation about the Constitution or a math problem and somebody got a different answer, you could then send another poll out and say, well, how did this person get this answer? And you can also make them different colors. But this actually will let you have interactive conversation right on the fly with your students as you are going along on the interactive whiteboard. I love this tool. There's so many ways that you can use this and so many options they have out there already. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit stop. The other thing that you can do with these is you can sort these. You can put them together if you decide some students pick one answer and other students come up with another answer. You can sort them and you can talk about them. And like I said, you can also show names, and I can see Rachel, Heather, and Mark all have interactive answers in here that we can take a look at. Really cool and amazing tool. I love this. The other thing is you can fill this. So if you have a student that has a visual problem, all I need to do is take the paint bucket and I can change the color. That's way too dark, so maybe I would pick yellow. This might help them to focus on what you're doing. So many reasons and ways you can do this, but this would be on the fly as far as an interactive whiteboard. Once you're done, when you hit exit, you can save this. If I save it, it saves that data that's inside of there. And if I go into my classes, you can see my feed. This is that open class. Here's that session that I just did and saved all the information in there. So any information that you do will be saved in here. The only thing you need to do is if it's an open class, it's really not going to be linked to your students because this is like an on the fly. If it's on the fly, it's not going to have that. So if your students used a nickname or they used something else when they came in there because their name wasn't in a list, we didn't have them create an account, you're not going to really be sure whose name is connected with that information. And you can see here's the poll that I had out there. It's all saved for me right there that I can go back later and look at that data. So you can make a class already. So if you wanted to do one of these on the fly, you would just have your students log in, and then when they logged in, all of their data would be saved inside of their class, and it would always be there. So it's just a really cool way to use a whiteboard if you need one instantly and remotely. These are also very easy to post. If your students are out or they're absent, you could post this and they can go in and they could see the cards and go along with your lesson if you were out. Also on the fly, you can just start a poll. So if you're in a session with your students and you want to know if they understand on the fly, I can just say, do you guys like this program? Yes or no? And if I do that, those four people are just going to be able to answer yes or no to me. I can choose what I want to see. I can do yes or no. I can do true or false. I could do a seed scale. There are many things that I could be able to do to figure out if they understood what I'm telling them. So some people don't know if they like this program. 2 people do like this program.
Tiffany.
Yes.
We do have a question. It says, can you have up your whiteboard and also use an iPad to send private notes?
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Can you have up your whiteboard and also use an iPad to send private notes?
Absolutely. I'm not sure where you want to send private notes to. You can actually send these to, I'm gonna stop this poll and I'm not gonna save that information. If you're doing a whiteboard or you have a presentation, when you go to share, I can choose to only share it with 2 students if I want. So if I have something typed in here and I only wanted Mark and Rachel to get it, they're the only 2 that would get that information. But yeah, you could probably send it to them. If you're doing a Zoom meeting and you're using this, you could even send them specifically notes inside of Zoom if you wanted to. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, or if you're asking, did you want to put notes up? Because here's your other option that you have. I'm going to leave this. They already have a ton of content that's created in Marketplace. So if you're looking for a lesson on something, and the lessons are the interactive lessons to be used online. They also have the flip charts, which are for Active Inspire, which is everybody has that installed on their computers. But if I decided that this coronavirus is something I wanted to talk to my students about, and I took a look at it, I can see what they have in here. If I decide that's good, I can add it to my resources. You get a blue bar that tells you how long it's going to take to go into your resources. But I just want to show you this compare contrast in this setting. When I go and take a look at this, what's really cool that they have is you can have a page of notes up and send the students a separate card. So if you see in here, if I wanted the students to have this card, I could send this to them, but then I could have something separate up on the board so they could take notes on this on their computer, while I'd have to send it as a poll so they could write on it, and then they would have this up in front of them on the board. So you can send a separate card down here on the bottom to the students and have something separate on your board. You don't have to have the same thing if that's what you're asking. So if you have notes on the board like math notes, you can send them a poll to take while they're looking at your notes on the board.
Thank you. They said they got it. And then Cheryl asked, doesn't everyone see what you're typing?
It depends on what you want them to view. Some people, what they do is they use their laptop and they send this to the Promethean board if you're doing this in class, or like you said, they would use the iPad and present this on their computer in Zoom, and then send individual things to the students. So you can use two devices if you want. If you wanted certain kids to have different things and send specific notes that you didn't want other people to see, you would have to use another device. But there's so much content out there. I just wanted to repeat that. You could have, if you're doing science, they have these amazing 3D models. If you haven't taken a look at them, amazing. That it actually shows the heart. If you're trying to teach health, already done for you. You go in and you play it. You click on the little numbers they have. They tell you what part of the heart it is. It beats for you. Really, really cool. So you see, I go down and it tells me that's the right lung down there. If I click on number 3, that's where the atrium would be located. So many things in Marketplace for you to use. They also have simulations. So if you're a science teacher or a math teacher, they have tons of simulations out there for you to send to your students and to work on them. And they come from PhET. So really cool. Kind of like Gizmos, but they're already integrated for you inside of ClassFlow in one place. So if you go over here and you look at your different formats, there are tons of things that you can find in here. And any kind of file you have, if you have a PowerPoint or a Smart Notebook, you use that before you came here, it will convert them all to be used for Promethean. So no worries. And I know if you have Smart Notebook, it doesn't take other content, at least didn't used to. But this will convert any content you have into a usable lesson in ClassFlow. And I'm going to stop there because I know we have other programs in a limited amount of time, but I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that that was available. So I'm going to stop sharing. And Rachel, anytime that you're ready.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out of your class there. So the next thing is Active Inspire, and it kind of dovetails into ClassFlow. We had Active Inspire before they invented ClassFlow. So if you click on this link here, it will take you to a download if you don't already have it on yours. I know that in the last time we talked about it, Gail had mentioned about she might need to update it. So if you do have it and it pops up that you might need to update it, I would say definitely do, because they have added some really cool new parts. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. So when it loads, it has your card or your whiteboard behind, but it has also this, I don't know if you can see the other little pop-up where it says dashboard. Sorry, now it's gone. Okay, are you able to see that?
I can see
Yes.
the teaching lesson.
Okay.
I'm looking at.
Yeah, where it says engaging lessons, easy peasy.
Yeah.
Cheryl, if you need to update, it'll tell you that. It'll come up like as a warning when you open it. So you can see that you have the option to upload flip charts. You can import it PDFs, smart notebooks, PowerPoints. So if you had Google Slides, you could convert them to PowerPoint and then go ahead and upload them, add a flip chart. If you had recent ones that you were working on, or you could go ahead and open ones that you already have. You have the option to do desktop annotation, which is basically writing on top of anything. You have the option to have this groovy little timer that pops up that you can use at any point, which is kind of cool, like the newer Promethean boards. And then you also have activities, which I know Tiffany had briefly touched upon, where you can create, say, flashcards. And then you could actually add pictures to them. Oops. And then, like, say if you're trying to do Spanish vocabulary, as if I know a whole lot. And I go ahead and enter. And again, I could add color to it. And then when I'm done, I can go ahead and save it, or I can click play. And then this is what the students would see if it actually loads. Okay. So it would be basically just like flashcards, and then I could have color there. So you again and again have the opportunity to save that. So if you set it up and then you can save it and present it later. I'm not going to, because I'm never going to teach Spanish, because that would be frightening. But then you also have the ability to go into ClassFlow and get flip charts from there and download them. Although I would just use them in ClassFlow because Tiffany showed me all the cool things that you can do in there. Or you can go to the Promethean Resource Library. And you can see they have over 48,000 flip charts here. So they have a couple that they put up. Just for you to see, but then you can also go and kind of drill down, just like in ClassFlow. Choose a grade level and a subject, and then I could add a search up here as if I'm copying off of Tiffany, compare and contrast. And then I could see the different flip charts that are here. And the cool thing about this is I will do edit them once I use them. So I can go ahead and just open it in Active Inspire. Sorry, my board thing is right there. Open? No. But it should open. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and move on. You have just your blank screen. You have the option to write on it, whatever. And then you can clear your annotations. If I wanted to go out into the internet, into anything, and then write on that, annotate, that's easy. I also have the option, if I can find it on here, to take pictures. Well, actually, that's my screen recorder. It's right here, desktop tools. So you see, I'm out on the internet or wherever I'm at, and I have the option right here. It says camera. So I can go ahead and click. I would choose like either the whole screen, just the window that I'm on. I like area, so I could go ahead and take a picture of just what I want and add it to the current page. And then the trick is to go back to it, I have to hover over here and click return to flip chart. And you can see there's like a snafu. It should be back into, I'm going to get out of my annotate the desktop, and it should have stayed here, and it did not. I'm sorry. I don't know if you saw the message that said that I'm low on resources for whatever reason. I'm having some issues with
Try it
this.
without having annotate over on, it should work.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this again real quick. Add it to the current page. I can also add it to the clipboard, and then I'm going to go ahead and go right back. There it is. Thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
So if I wanted to actually make things before I present it to students, I could go ahead and make my own little flip chart quickly. I could go to my next page here, little back and forth arrow. So say I wanted to, go ahead and get out of that. I know some people use these Ready Teacher Toolbox. So I can go ahead back here, take a picture of what I wanted, either the whole worksheet or just part of it. Okay.
You weren't in the camera, you were in the calculator. Go back to your tools.
Thank you.
Yep, and hit the camera. See, you were in the recorder. Go to the camera. No, go back to your middle. Your little.
Oh, there it is.
Yep,
okay.
The camera.
Thank you.
There you go.
And that's the tricky part about this is that you have to be able to see the little icon in the middle. And then I can either add it to a new page, current page, I'll add it to the clipboard. And then I have to go back to my flip chart. Oh, there's my calculator. And then I can go ahead and copy it in. I can move it around. I can make it bigger. I can you have the ability to lock things on here. Lock it so that even when the kids go up, they can't move it. And then they could go ahead and write on it, or you can write on it as you're presenting it. So basically, that's just quick. You can get super advanced into it, just like as if you were on a Google Slides presentation and layer things. You can have, hang on. You can have things like magic ink. I don't know if anyone knows about that. So this is one that I had made a long time ago. And you can see it says using magic ink to find and count the sea creatures, because we want them to make little tally marks. This is again for a primary lesson. So this is magic ink right here. And kids, especially younger kids, love it. You can choose the size of this, but then you can see that it's sort of like a revealer. So again, it just depends on how much time you want to put into it, if you're being creative, or you can go ahead and find it either in the Promethean resource library or in ClassFlow. So say that I make this, I can go ahead, sorry, and I could go straight to ClassFlow from here and import my flip chart from here into ClassFlow. Are there any questions about that?
One thing that I like that's really cool, don't go anywhere yet, hit cancel, is that I always tell teachers, if you want to do something simple, you have the shapes over there on the right. So if she clicks on the little shapes, the square and the circle, one of the easiest things you can do for your students that they love is she can just click on a square. Yep, drag it. And then she can use it to like cover one of the words up at the top. Yep, go back to your pointer. And then they can they can drag it or move it, and it's just a, you know, to have them find things, which students love to do that. So it's pretty cool. Very easy to do too. You're making it manipulative. Students get to go up to the board, they get to do something, or you can send it to their computer and they can move it, they can't see it, and they still like it because they have to find it. Just very simple.
Which layer is this? If you're going to go into the layers,
He's asking advanced questions now.
yeah, that's like I have to show my menu, which isn't for some reason. Oh, there it is, menu bar.
Browser. You just turned off you wanted the browser.
Yeah, in the browser, and then it gets pretty complicated. That would be kind of like a whole another lesson. Sorry. Yeah, so you do have the ability to save it. Again, create this stuff and then save it. I'm not going to. And I click cancel instead of no. But it can be very basic, and there's, again, lots and lots of different stuff that, lots of different tools that you can use.
Yeah,
but it's already pre-made.
Yeah, I really like that you guys all have PDFs and you're always like, how can I make a PDF where the kids can write on it? If you put it into the flip chart or you put it into ClassFlow and you send it to them as a poll, it's now something they can write on, fill in the answers, and send it back to you. So that's definitely a hack for PDFs that you want to make manipulatives for.
So the next one is whiteboard.fi. So again, if you click on that, it'll take you straight there. It's a cool tool, like if we didn't have access to ClassFlow. So again, I could have a class or join a class. This would be where your students would join. So I could put that link in my Google Classroom, and then they could go. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new class real quick and name it whatever. Create new class. So you can see that this is the link to it. Go ahead and put it in the chat. So this is my whiteboard here. And then as you guys join, yours will pop up over here. You can see their whiteboards will appear here automatically. So Andrea has joined. And as people continue to join, or as your students continue to join, you can see them. So I can go ahead and do something super simple. And then you see down here it says push whiteboard to students. Your whiteboard was pushed to all students, and then I can go to my class and I can see what they're going to do with what I just sent. I'm gonna have to, I don't know the people that just joined are gonna get it. So I can see that Tiffany has solved it. And I could go ahead and I could push this out to all the students so that they could see it. Oh no, I pushed it back to the students, sorry. So I could put a comment on there and push it back. I could erase what she did. I could kick her out of the room if she was being inappropriate, or I could go ahead and close it for her. So basically it's something that you could use while you're on Zoom. I mean, the same as you would for ClassFlow. It's just that ClassFlow has more different options. This is more basic. So I could clear and then go ahead and write something different. And then go ahead and push it just to give you guys the ability to. How do the students erase if they wanted to change their answer? I'm not sure because I can't see the student side. Do you have the option to erase anything?
Yes, we have the same tools that you do. There's an eraser next to the pencil. but I
Okay.
can erase. You have to change the size of it. It's very small unless you change the size.
Yeah, it looks like Mark is erasing his right now.
Let's see, I have to. So my question is, I don't know if you know this, can you save the data?
No, you cannot save anything.
Oh, so this is like on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I did put that on here, that there's the difference. You have the ability to save in ClassFlow, and it does not save anything. They both give you real-time student responses, but that's the big difference. So everyone's in here, and you can show whatever you want, but then as soon as you're done, I go to this cogwheel. Oh, this is how I would clear everyone's. So say I want to move on, and you guys are still working. I just click that, and I get rid of your things. I can hide your names, just like you would, so I can show student responses, but then I don't know whose they are either. But once I click close room, it kicks you guys all out, and then all the data is gone. So it's an option, but Classflow obviously had a lot more to it. Are there any questions about that? I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. No, I'm not actually. Yes, I did. Okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let Andrea regale us about ClassFlow. Does have the same thing. It just has more, because it'll say you have the ability to save it, and you have the ability to go back and look at that data and even share that data at a later point. It does look the same. It just doesn't have the ability to save. So again, this is like if you're doing something on the fly, like you might do it in your classroom if you don't have to save the data. It's very quick, but it is limited.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys see my Flipgrid screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure. Okay, so Flipgrid has its own whiteboard or blackboard in it, depending on what color you pick. It allows you to do like your record intro. I know we've been talking about Flipgrid forever in these PDs, and we've been giving you different pieces. So in Flipgrid, of course, you can create your own topics. And for mine, I just did school samples, and notice it says school emails. So the kids can only attach to it with their school emails. And it gives me a code. Notice the codes already have our last names in them now, so you know who's the creator of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll just do a new grid here for us. So you get to pick your grid, and I'm just going to put webinar 2020. It says school emails, school or student ID or educator learning community. So those kids that maybe the younger kids that you don't want to use their whole email, you might want to let them do IDs. But for the rest of the kids, please use their school emails. It's just much easier on you and them. So I'm going to click school emails. Notice my name is already in there again for the code. I'm going to click next. We know to do the at Youngstown K-12, it automatically does that, but we also know the teachers, or that's the teachers, and our students are YC SD, so we have to make sure we add that and hit enter. If my keyboard.
.org.
Oh, thank you. Okay, there we go. Thank you. That's why it went enter. So at ycsd.org, hit enter, and then I'm gonna go next. So it starts a whole new grid for me. There's the code. So I'm gonna embed that.
Why don't you just copy it at the end and paste it into the chat if you can?
That's what I was trying to do. Okay, so all right, so here's my board. All of them say hello. If you don't want that there, because like you're creating new ones and your students already know how to use them, then you can go ahead and delete it. Like by now I know in here, yes, I want to permanently delete it. Okay, so if I want a new topic, I don't know, let's say we just want to do, I don't know, your name. Like make sure the kids know how to spell their name, because you know a lot of them don't. So the question, or add a question, please write your name. Okay, then I scroll down here and it gives me focus options. In order to do their whiteboard, I have to click record a video. So I hit record a video and it takes a minute to load. Notice at the top it says 10. You actually have 10 minutes of video you can record. And then right here you can add sticky notes. But I'm not going to record my own face. I'm going to go over here. They have filters, so you could do different color backgrounds, which right now that doesn't matter. You could do just text. You can do emojis. There's drawing. We want the board. So I'm going to click board. It gives us a chance, a whiteboard or the old-fashioned blackboard, depending on your students, how colorful you want to be, whatever. The choice is yours. I'm going to go ahead and do whiteboard. Okay, and it gives me a chance then to write what I want to write. So I could pick different colors, whatever it is I want to do. They said that it's easiest to do this with iPads or touch screens, but when I did my iPad this morning, mine's an older iPad, so I got a notice that says, please use your desktop computer to add a topic focus video. So that solved that from trying it on the iPad. So what I'm gonna do is, I have my color that I wanna use. I'm gonna hit record. Notice it gives me a countdown. So I can right up here, oh.
I think you chose white as your color.
Did I? Oh, I bet you I did. Thank you. I went too far over. Okay, let's try that. Nope. Okay, let me pause that. So I want to draw. Well, I want my whiteboard. I love glitches. Okay, it's working. So I can go ahead and let me click redo so it'll stop the recording. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit record. And I'm going to say, please write your name. So kids have a chance to see me trying to write with the mouse, which is always an adventure. Okay, and then I could pause the video. When I click next, and notice you can write anything you want, you do any topic you want, any subject. Click next. I'm gonna say, it'll review it. Please write your name. kids have a chance to see me trying to write with the mouse, which is always an adventure. So when I'm happy with the video, I can either add more. I can pause. So if I'm done, I'm going to hit next. They want you to take then a selfie. So I just, like everyone else, I hate my picture being taken. You can pick a different sticker, whatever icon you want to cover your face. They now have some different ones of like construction workers, whatever. Just gonna use her. Stretch her out to cover most of my face. Hit the picture. I'm gonna click next. So now the video is there and I can have the students do the same and then they can answer me as well. So let me see if I could pull up the chat and.
I think you might have to, I already added it, but I think you might have to add a name to the assignment at the top.
Did I not add a name to the assignment? Yes, I did. It says name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just has to
And I would say go ahead and assign, and I think that we can.
I think it already assigned because the only thing it'll let me do is make a new topic.
Yeah, you need to create a topic. You need to create. That's the assignment.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And we're all set. So.
All right, now it's in there so that we can go ahead and click the plus sign and record a response, and then we can practice with the whiteboard.
Okay. Go ahead, everyone, and see if you can't do that.
I just want to let you know that my my iPad made me do an update. And when I did the update, I was able to, because we have the same iPad, I was able to write on it.
Oh, okay, good.
There was an update this morning for Flipgrid. It came up.
Oh, just this morning? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I tried it last night too, and I was like, what in the world? So that's good to know. Okay, so notice it says, you know, Tiffany answered and it has her little emoji.
Recorder's response, and then we can practice with the whiteboard.
Okay. So notice
Go
there's
ahead, everyone, and see if you
her being
can
all fancy with her name.
do that.
I just want to let you. Oh, she's giving me feedback.
Recorder's response, and then we can practice with the whiteboard.
Okay.
I do want you guys to know that you can see that she has the
Yeah.
feedback in there, and when she sends it, it only sends it by email. They cannot see your feedback if you do not, if they do not use email. I just want you to be aware of that, because we had a teacher that was doing video feedback and the kids couldn't see it because they weren't logging into their accounts. So just be aware, if you are giving feedback, it is emailed to them, to the whatever email they logged in with.
Right, and there's also a rubric where you can edit and grade the rubric, but it's still in order to do that feedback as the emailer. There is a video feedback that'll only be available to Tiffany.
Right, and that's what's emailed to them. That's what the teacher.
That too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you did that, it would be emailed to me. Now you see that there's now a link that's new. So this whiteboard is new and this copy feedback link is new, but you would still have to put it someplace or give it to them privately. And other than email, I'm not sure, maybe in Google Classroom, you could send that to them individually if they are not using email. That's for younger kids. So you could use that copy feedback link. But I just want you to be aware, if you have younger kids, they can only see feedback if they log into their email.
And then I just noticed too over here, since this is all new, it says feature response, Spark video, or add response to mixtapes.
Yeah, so that Spark video is really cool that you can then take a student's video and use it as your lesson in the next, like it creates a topic for you, for your students to answer. So if you were asking maybe a science question and somebody came up with a really good answer and you wanted students to talk about that, you would Spark it and then you could give that to them as the next topic for other students to see that, to talk about. It's really cool.
Okay, so that's always an option. I'm going to go back to the webinar. What I also like about doing I'm going to go ahead and do a new topic. One of the choices in it to answer, so I'm going to do name 2. Is it'll give you a chance to go ahead and use their block letters. So I'm going to hit record. Let it load. Okay. I'm going to click whiteboard. Notice I have to hit the whiteboard. I can use their block lettering. You know, if our handwriting is not the best using mice, of course. So I can use the letters and I can actually have them answer in those as well. Like people don't have, kids don't have to just use their mouse because, you know, there's kids, their hand-eye coordination is not the best. So they can actually use the letters to write their response. So I thought that was kind of cool because then this way you're not working with just hand-eye coordination. You can allow them to print their answers. And of course, to do this, I should probably have hit record and talked them through it, but I like that option too. Any of these or any other of the other options are not going to let you use the whiteboard. You have to click record a video in order for it to load up to use a whiteboard. Now,
that's for you. When the students get it, they still have that option. You just don't have that option. So when a student goes to record the video, that whiteboard is still there on the student side.
Okay. It also gives you
a prompt. It doesn't have to be a whiteboard prompt. That's just the prompt that you want them to use.
Then there's also the Blackboard. So you can also, for those, I prefer like a black background, just it's easier for me to read. So if I go to type my name, they also have the choice. It's the same setup. It's just a black background versus a white background. I could put a photo sticker if I want, and then pick something from my range of emojis, whatever. You do whatever you want on here to have them do a quick response, and maybe like an activity for next week. You know, maybe you want them to add their favorite emoji or something, or their favorite summer emoji or whatever.
What's really nice is, just so you know, is when you go to that picture icon, they can bring in a PDF and they can annotate over the PDF on here also. So if you have them create something, but the PDF needs to be saved as a JPEG. So if you have like a Google a Google Doc, you can save it as a JPEG or a PNG, and they can write on it. So just so you know, you have the option to do that, and they can pull it in there, and they can write on it, because that's an option in Google to save your slides or your docs as a JPEG or a PNG file.
Right, and you have that same option to do the same, not just the kids. You have that option too. So you can annotate across a science worksheet or whatever. You can have them, circle things within this, whatever, find the boat, whatever you want them to do. It's totally up to you. It's your flexibility and what you want to add to it. It's just another option for a whiteboard. And, for our little kids, I know not everyone's responding to their work. Well, older kids too, but I know if they could do a quick video or a quick segment that they get to be more creative, they're more likely to answer your assignments.
And all our kids want to be YouTube stars now. So what's the best way to do that than to get this? And I know they're more likely, how well do they know something? Can they teach it to you? See if they can tell you how to do whatever their process is instead of having to write it on a piece of paper. That's how you know if somebody really knows something. Could they teach it to you? The only way you're going to do that is if you have them use this video format.
And I know some of the teachers send out flat teachers. You can have the kids, you could put your flat teacher in this and then have your kids respond to it and say, well, where did you take me? On, what adventure did we go on together? And maybe they're more likely to answer you in this instead of a different format. But it's just another choice for you, depending on what you want and what you decide to do with it. Are there any questions?
No, but I think something you need to think about is variety is the spice of life. And if we are teaching online next year, you can't be doing the same thing over and over again every day, or you're going to lose them. So maybe doing, one of these a week, or, trying just the whiteboard, the whiteboard.fi, and using that once a week, and using the class flow maybe twice a week, just bringing those things in and trying one of them one at a time as you start to teach, or practicing with it now. Would probably be the best thing I would try. But you definitely need to think about the different ways that you can get to your students.
Right, and you want to teach them that if we go half time, if we go half in the classroom, half not, then of course you want to teach those skills before they leave your room so they could try them out first before you send them on their own.
So Andrea didn't put on video moderation, so the whole time she's been teaching, I've been watching everybody else's videos and putting responses.
Oops. Sorry. See, there you go.
Yeah, I always make sure that the video moderation is on. That way you approve the videos before anybody else sees them, because some students like to do more than one video, and they can if you open it up. There is no set limit to the number of videos they can use. What program is good for making a flat teacher? Those are the Bitmojis that people are printing out and then cutting them out. So if you've done if you have a Bitmoji that you've added, so I'm going to share my screen really quick. I added this extension on at the top, you can see here. And then inside here are my Bitmojis, and I actually have like a whole person. If I copy that or I save it, I'm just going to copy it. And I'm going to open a new doc. And this is probably not the one I would use, but this is just an example. And I paste it in there. There it is. And then the teachers are just cutting them out. Some of them, like Rachel has said, are using their own face on here. And then they're putting this on a stick and they're mailing them to their students, or finding a way virtually to send them to them, and then they take them wherever they're going.
Right. I put directions in there from a blog on how to create it.
Yeah. So I had to make this somewhere first. So you have to log into the Bitmoji on like your smartphone to create this. and then you can add it, you log in up here and you can add it to your account. But you can, I mean, there's so many different ones that you can do, but they always use the full body Bitmojis. So that way the students have their whole body, but there's so many out there.
Kathy Paul did it and not realizing it, she picked the Nene body. So she's like doing the Nene in hers, which is hysterical. And sent it to her second graders.
That's pretty cool.
And then she sent it to her kids too, because she said she wanted to be there on Mother's Day to have dinner with them. So she made her own children. Only one of them did it, but she sent it to her own kids since they're living out of state.
Yep. So I put the survey in the chat, and I just wanted you guys to know there was a little change in the schedule that I believe tomorrow Greg is going to be doing the gizmos. So that was just added. We had to change our schedule around a little bit, but it's really cool. So if you guys haven't been using it for math or science, you definitely need to check that out because it is amazing. And it actually is very close to our air and it makes a good practice.